The free-to-play Premier League draft on Sorare for the 23-24 season is here in all of its glory, and we're all starting back from zero. This is the opening weekend where we can get to play Sorare Fantasy Football free-to-play with the Premier League cards for the new season, with all the up-to-date squads and the lovely new card design as well. And in the video today, I'm going to be walking you through all the pro hints and tips that you're going to need to play the Premier League draft this season and get as high up the leaderboard every game week and overall as high as possible. I'm doing a giveaway competition for this game week, and I've opened up a private league, so I don't care if you're brand new and you've just started today. Maybe you've been playing Sorare for a while, or maybe you're playing Sorare for the first time, but you've been playing some other fantasy football game for a while and you think you know something. My team is going to be Apex, and if you think you've got any shot of beating it, I'll give you something if you can win the league. The link to join the league and enter the competition is in the link in the description of this video. By entering that league, you'll be entered into the main Premier League competition anyway, so you're not going to be missing out on much. And maybe you'll get some bragging rights. Maybe you'll finish above me at any point in the video. If you laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever. Please do like and subscribe to the channel, share and retweet and all that good stuff, guys. We're pushing for 10,000 subscribers and we cannot do that without your support. And yeah, let's just get stuck into it. Now, I'm going to walk you through all the basics of what you need to know to get stuck into this draft. But like I mentioned to you in the intro, there's a few pro hints and tips that you're going to need to know along the way if you're going to want to be competitive in this division, not just for the Premier League amateur mode, but any of the amateur modes that are on Sorare. It's not just there for the Premier League, but we also have it for the Bundesliga, La Liga, Ligue 1, which is France, Serie A, and the MLS, or the Messi League. If you're after a more in-depth tutorial on how to actually play Sorare and how to get up and running and how the game mechanics actually work in terms of buying cards, the scoring matrix, how people make money from playing the game, all that kind of stuff, then there'll be content like that linked in the description in this video that will help you get sorted out. If you are brand new to Sorare, you can play this game for free when you open up your account. If you are yet to open up your account, there's a link in the description of the video that will get you a free limited card once you've bought 5 from the market. By clicking on that link, you support all the content here at the channel, and a thank you in advance if you do so. If you get stuck or if you need any help, just jump into the comment section and I'll come and sort you out. But when you're opening up your account for the first time, or if you've been on Sorare for a while, when we go to draft, this is the screen we're presented with. We've got 400 points there as a budget to be building the team, and we need to pick 2 players to every position. And on Sorare, there is only 4 positions: goalkeeper, defender, midfielder, and forwards. Now, the points that each of these players is worth is their form over the last 15 games on Sorare. The Sorare scoring matrix is out of 100, so whatever their last average score out of 100 over the last 15 games that player's had is their score. Now, this moves throughout the season, and it brings us to our first pro tip. The minimum points that someone can be worth on this is 40. So is there any 40-point cards that you can find in the draft that is clearly going to be a guy as the season goes on would cost you even more points on the cap? Now, if a guy's coin price, gem price moves, you don't get to benefit from selling it back to Sorare, if that makes sense. You will always have a budget of 40 points. So if you pick somebody up for 40, if later on you trade them out, you'll only get that 40 points back to get their replacement. So this is a strategy you're looking to find and optimize for who you could see as being a key Premier League player, no matter what, across all 38 games, or however many games are left at this point. That strategy will be very vital for picking maybe a forward, a midfielder, or a defender, but it is definitely going to be needed for selecting your second goalkeeper. You're going to pick 2 goalkeepers, and ideally you're going to want a second one that is very cheap, so you can spend more points somewhere else. I don't think Aaron Ramsdale at 40 points is a bad shout. I know there's a wee bit of speculation around his position at Arsenal with incoming David Raya, but with the fact he played against Scotland and he got a cap, maybe there's a wee bit more time for Ramsdale as number 1, but that does seem like a position that will change throughout the season. But I've also got a sneaky suspicion that for 40 coins, Dean Henderson could be a great pick. With the amount of money spent on him, I think him and Sam Johnson are definitely going to be jostling for that number 1 position, and there's no way that Dean Henderson doesn't feature for me for Crystal Palace over the season at some point. And Crystal Palace's defence has been very good over the last couple of years, and under Roy Hodgson, he's a very known quantity, a known element. And I'm quite happy that I would pick Dean Henderson for 40. Now, the second thing that's going to help you along this is these cards are actually going to level up and get extra bonus points for the more competitions you play them in and the longer you hold them. As we start the game week, everyone's at fresh, everyone's at 0, and this is a game element that will really come back to help you out later on in the season. So when you're drafting maybe 2, 3, 4 or 5 players at the moment, you should be thinking about potentially retaining them for the full season. For me, in defense, you should be finding options of guys that can push into the higher scores and are consistently going to play on a game week basis every weekend, with the idea that you can level them up and they can be a big differential opportunity for you as the season progresses. Now, because we only get 8 players, it's only 2 to a position, you need to have a good level of confidence on anyone you're selecting that you can actually use them this weekend. You know, they're actually going to be used in the team, and you've not got too many guys that are on that rotation cycle where they might, you know, be all of a sudden out of the team. You only get 2 swaps per week. So if you've got more than 2 guys that are just in for one weekend, that can be a bit of a problem as the season progresses. In these draft mode competitions, there's going to be always a few key players that will separate the leaderboard depending on who scores and who doesn't score this game week. And I feel that in the forward position, you're really making a clear choice on backing someone who you think is going to get multiple decisive actions from one of the big teams in the league, because outside of it, you don't have much certainty on form or availability. A lot of the better clubs do have European football through this stage of the season, as well as maybe some injuries. You know, Son, I believe, has picked up an injury, for example, on international duty. So I think Erling Haaland, Salah, maybe Højlund, if he comes good. There's a few guys, I think Saka goes into this category as well, but I think he's a midfielder that, you know, you either have them or you don't. And in France, last year it was a much more apparent. Did you have Messi, Neymar and Mbappe? And then it was whatever one hit big was in a bunch of teams would run the leaderboard depending on who your goalkeeper was and the defender, etc. So it's about identifying who is the talisman, who is the bigger players that you're spending the majority of your budget on. Is it going to be like a Rodri and a Haaland or whatever? Because the second kind of part of this I would add in is you can only pick 2 players from the same club. So you can't just go and pick the full Man City team or whatever, if you could on budget. Now in midfield to start this draft, a lot of the players I'm a big fan of are actually really expensive. And when it comes down to it, you know, some of the ones that have been really successful in the draft for me, Eberechi Eze, Bukayo Saka, Rodri, a lot of the big players, even De Bruyne, who's currently injured, do cost a lot. So I think particularly as the draft opens up, there is a lot of pressure to spend more coins on midfield. I went for Manor Solomon for my 40-pointer with the injury to Son. I believe he will benefit from that. And I think since I need to go premium anyway, I would probably just pick up Rodri just to firm that up with the City boys. I think Højlund as the second striker at 41 makes a lot of sense. I'm going to take Bernd Leno as my primary goalkeeper on top of that Henderson, which leaves me with quite a generous 60-point difference to go and get a main defender. And you know what? As I'm looking at that, actually, I could afford a Trippier. So I think I might actually revert back to that Pope selection and maybe go with the Newcastle defence for this game week, because, yeah, that's a decent game for them against Brentford at home. So I think, yeah, I'll take Trippier. I'll probably keep Leno playing Luton. That's too good, actually. Yeah. And I've got 4 points remaining. So this will be my Premier League draft team for the upcoming weekend. Don't forget to enter the private league in the description of this video. And I'm looking forward to seeing if you think you can actually topple this team. Do you think you will actually be able to beat me? And like I say, anyone who does finish top, there'll be a 3D card given out to the winner of the private league. I look forward to seeing you all on the leaderboard. And yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and retweet, and all that good stuff. On screen there now is some other stuff that I've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. Take care.